All right, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have our first Brave Challenger. Nomad going to be taking on the current king, Sziky. Sziky has accumulated a $15 bounty at this point. Nomad wants to try and cash in on that, so that's what he's going to be doing. I don't remember if I mentioned in the last video, but every second, or sorry, every day that passes, the current king gains a $1 bounty as well as a $1 payout, right? So he won the throne from Remap the Mind, and then has not been challenged since then. So he's got about 2 weeks now with people too scared to step up and face off against Sziky. We did add a couple rules, a couple changes here, and Nomad not going to be using any of the handicaps that are in place, but we added two potential handicap options for the king. One of them is that the challenger can use kind of like a delay kind of handicap on the king. So whatever the king's bounty is, there's a 1.5-second delay before he's allowed to start mining or doing anything. If they do cash in on that handicap, it's going to make it where they only get half the bounty. I believe it was. I'll have to double check that number. Might have been a little bit more, maybe it was like 60%, something like that, but they get a little bit less the money, and then the additional bounty that they don't cash in on goes back to the king. So the king does get rewarded if you cash in on the handicap as well, so he gets a little bit extra money, even if you beat him. And then the other one is that you can actually challenge them in like a 2v1 team melee. And again, you'll get 50% of the bounty, and then you have to split that with your partner. So it's very expensive to do that, or like the payout's very low. So it's really only something you would cash in on if you got two players that are not very confident that they could win a 1v1, and there's like a big bounty to gain for it as well. But here we go. So going into the game, we have a dead Nomad. I wasn't really paying attention. This is kind of standard Nomad greed. We're gonna have to pull some probes, and they kind of need to be pulled like now. He's gonna see the lings coming here. We'll see how fast he gets his probes down here, but this might just be a straight up loss. Nomad has a lot of these kinds of losses because he does go for these really greedy openers. And that's going to be a quick kill there for Sziky. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Nomad, understandably not very happy with that game. Immediate rematch. Still doesn't want to cash in on the handicap. He is not happy with that. I think he was kind of talking about it before, that he might want to do like give him one game and kind of see how it goes, and then maybe do the handicap after. But after that game, he's understandably not satisfied, so wants to go again. So we're going to get that immediate re-challenge from Nomad, and this time we are cross-spawn for him as well, so if he wants to do something a little bit greedier like that, it's not as punishable, because there will be that additional travel distance. We'll see if he wants to continue to be greedy. He does do these kind of like later scouts. He likes to kind of optimize his mining and stuff, and does like to do Nexus and things like that before the Forge, so he will often lose games like that. I've seen it happen, but if he gets away with it, he obviously has a pretty big advantage, and understandably he wants to try to do something like that to have an advantage over Sziky, because Sziky is a very, very strong opponent. But we're going to get that overpull from Sziky again, and I think this time we are going to get... Well, it could be Gateway opener this time from Nomads. Okay, it's just going to be Forge. He's just going to do single scout Forge. No Nexus before Forge this time. So we'll probably get something like a 13-13 from him this game, and he's just going to go with single scout. This is, like I said, a little bit greedier. Normally when you're doing Forge expand, you'll scout with that first probe, and then after you make the Forge, you'll scout with your next probe. And this just allows you to always see the lings coming. If it's like a 9 pull or anything like that, you're getting scout in time to kind of get that information that you would need. Because he would be like in his base right now, right? So he would know, oh, I need to go cannons before Nexus, that kind of thing. But yeah, we're just going to go later expand, go 13-13, kind of assume that our opponent's going to go for overpull instead of that 9 pull. And he will be correct in assuming so. So gonna get in here, find his opponent. First two lings gonna come out. And not quite paying attention, actually. The first two lings gonna go straight across. Actually, no what? I don't think it's that he wasn't paying attention. I think he wants to see if he can maybe catch Nomad being greedy again. So that's why these two went straight across first, but here he'll see. Okay, he did actually make the cannon on time this time. He's not doing anything crazy. And, I actually kind of wish I was paying attention to the last game. I guess I'm going to need to go back and look. I was so busy talking about the new rules and stuff. I don't even know if it was 9 pull or not. And I feel like I should know that based on the timing of things, but it was Nexus before Forge. But I think he made 6 lings, right? So it may have been 9 pull. Or it could have just been over pull. I actually a little bit ashamed to say I don't know off the top of my head what exactly the timings are like. 9 pull versus Nexus first. Forgive me. But everything looking pretty standard from Sziky right now. And same from Nomad, honestly. Nothing too weird or crazy going on. Got your kind of normal third base timing. Did clean up that probe pretty quickly overall, did Sziky. This next probe going to be coming out. Sziky is going to see it. And kind of know at least that this probe is out on the map looking for that scout. But Sziky going for that lair. It's not going to be any like super fast Hydra or anything like that. And get a bit of damage on the Zealot there. Gets a few swipes off on the lings, but takes some hull damage, loses all of his shield. Not really what you're looking for here as Nomad. And the lings just barely gonna, oh my god, gonna get on top of that probe and kill it just in time to deny that scout. That is so painful for Nomad, because you don't know. You don't know if this is Lair or Hydra Den right now. Wow, that was really tight. Really well done by Sziky. And for those of you that don't know, Sziky, he's been playing a lot lately, really grinding. I've seen him going up over 2400 MMR on the ladder right now, so he is a very strong S-rank player. He's not even just like low S, right? He's very legitimate, and he takes games off of a lot of really good players, so it's gonna be tough for a lot of us normies to take down Sziky. But it is best of one, you know, in best of one things can happen. It's kind of part of the format, right? They get to pick the map, they get to pick well, they get to pick the map, they have the opportunity for handicaps if they want it, but, you know, the best of one, anybody can really upset anybody. You know, we recently saw Tarson actually beat Bonneth 3 games in a row after being down 2-0 at the Warsaw land, so, you know, in a best of one, anything can happen. Especially if they want to go cheesy or do something weird, but oh no, the Ling's actually going to run by into Nomad's main. This is going to be super annoying. He's going to get the Corsair out, going to try and start this cannon, but it can be potentially jumped on. One probe going to go down. I like that he went in and started the cannon right away. I wish Protoss players would do this more often, because it's like, look, you got 5 speedlings in your base, and these are like good player speedlings, you know what I mean? So you want to put a timer on them. Good pull there from Nomad. Gonna lose, I think it was 1 more probe. So he lost 2 probes in total. Not the most painful thing, and this cannon isn't completely useless either, because that Spire is finished up. And here we go, the Corsair gonna get into his base, see that the Spire's down, see the eggs morphing, so... Oh no, immediately intercepted though by the Scourge. And nothing really going right for Nomad so far. And now he's gonna go back into making more Corsair after seeing the Spire, but... Yeah, that hurts quite a bit, losing that Corsair. Now we're gonna see the Midas popping out as well with the Scourge. And there's gonna be a lot of threat onto the Templar of Nomad if he tries to push out. We're gonna see how many Mutas we want to go for as Sziky. We'll probably just do the 5 or so, I'd imagine, because we are only able to go to 2 gas, so I don't think we're gonna do any sort of like Ogre Zerg, anything like that. That being said, we did make, I think, 1 extra, so we're on, what, 6 total with a few Scourge. So this is going to be looking for some damage here, and then back into droning behind this, and, you know, Nomad's going to have to respect this. We're going to have 3 Corsair, which is pretty decent. Obviously, we wish we had that extra Corsair for this specifically. But we got that cannon back here, along with a Corsair, so I don't think he'll die or really take too much damage here, but he is going to lose some Corsair. It's pretty much unavoidable, so the 2 Corsair are going to go down. Actually, you know, am I wrong? I mean, the other Corsair comes out now, and maybe he is just dead. We're actually targeting probably the healthiest Muta, and you know what? I'm just 100% wrong on this. These Muta is going to break through here, even added an extra Muta as well. And honestly, losing that Corsair just kind of snowballing. We are going to get a Zealot run by on the other side of the map, which is pretty nice. Could potentially get some damage. You can at least force him to drill away, but, you know, on the other side of things, we're kind of dead, right? So, killing the Spire is good and all, but we've taken so much damage. We're not able to mine our main. We dropped that second Stargate, but there's Hydras being made right now for Sziky. The Mutas are coming back, though, and we're getting a little bit of damage done. Picking these Hydras off as they come out, they don't have speed yet, so this is pretty good value so far from these Zealots. And like I said, it did make Sziky come back home. We gotta get our transfer back to our main, though, and mining as soon as possible. And here come the Mutas. He is gonna get the spawning pool as well. Maybe an additional drone. And, I mean, pretty good value on the other side of the map. I just don't think it's enough, right? Like, if you got this done, obviously, without, you know, taking so much damage at home, if we had, you know, the proper Corsair counter, maybe even made a second cannon while getting that counter off, I would love this for Nomad, but, you know, we lost a lot of pros. We got our Corsair account reset again, and now we're on double Stargate, and he's pumping Hydra, which is really scary for Nomad. There's no Templar out on the map yet. We've just got the 2 gateways right now. We're going to have enough Corsair that we're going to be able to fight this back. We do have a +1 attack now as well. But there is a little bit of opening here on the bottom, so Sziky probably going to get a little bit of probe damage. And, yeah, that lag might actually be me. My internet provider has been really letting me down, so maybe a few missed opportunities for swipes there for Sziky, so that's kind of on me, I believe. But gets a few probes. 4th base on the way here at 6 o'clock. And, I mean, Nomad is just hurting, right? I mean, our probe count is very, very low compared to what we would like for it to be. And we're going to go out for a little bit of a move out here, but the Hydra count's gotten pretty high. And there's really not very many Zealots. There's just 7 Zealots, one of them even... Okay, no. It looked like the shield was a lot lower than it was. But we have a lot of Corsair, so maybe we can get a lot of Overlord kills, clean up those Mutas, something like that. And yeah, 3 Overlords going to go down. We've lost 2 Corsairs so far, but there's a lot of Hydras here chipping away at these Corsair. Overlord speed does finish up. I mean, this is pretty decent Overlord damage, but we're losing all of our Zealots, and we just don't really have much going on behind it. We sent the DT out as well, which is a good thought. It's always a good, like, comeback mechanic to kind of go for. We gotta be careful with these Corsair. We're about to bleed off a lot. In fact, every single Corsair gonna go down except for this one with just a little bit of HP, and Sziky could chase it down if he wanted. And very smartly gets an Overlord here to his 3rd base. Very, very quickly. So Sziky not gonna be caught off guard by any of Nomad shenanigans. And things just not looking good for Nomad in this game. We're trying to add our additional gateways now, but only a couple on the way. And unfortunately, because we lost all of our Corsair, these Mutas still threatening us, and we're even making more Corsair again, which is definitely not what we want to be doing. We're starting to see in the supply now, Sziky ballooning up a little bit, 30 supply over Nomad. And Ziky's economy getting very healthy very quickly. 3rd gas on the way, drone count looking pretty decent. It's not like super saturated or anything, but it's still, you know, strong for Zerg, especially spread across the 4 bases. And at this point, I don't even know if magical storms could bring us back into this game. Sorry, I should have had this on. And Sziky just continuing to find little bits of chip damage. Even though there's these Corsair around, they were kind of you know, beat up these mutas where he continues to find more and more probe kills. And Sziky just playing a strong, clean game. Kind of expected, like I said, he's been very, very active lately. And it's definitely showing. There's really no, like, major holes here that's very visible. Gonna track this DT down. And DT might get away. Actually gonna get intercepted by these mutas, so picked off there even. And just no chink in the armor here for Sziky. Nomad cannot find a way to get in and get much damage. I mean, that counterattack, like I said, did do really well, but unfortunately we're just taking a lot of damage on the other side while it was happening. And here we go. We got a big swell of Hydra Lurker coming across the map now, and we do have a few Corsair additionally to kind of, you know, chase these mutas off to protect our Templar, so that's good. It's going to try and get up here to take us third base, but we don't have an observatory. We don't even have the robotics finished yet as these lurkers come up here and take this space. A couple storms going to come down, but only a couple Hydras going to go down. Even losing another Templar to the lurkers. And we're so long from getting an observer out, much less retaking this high ground. I mean, this is so hard for Protoss to break through. You got a high ground here over this space here. You got the bridge here, and then another high ground here. Once Zerg gets into this position, it's honestly such a nightmare for Protoss to break through. Which is kind of surprising to me. I wonder why it is the Nomad specifically wants to play Knockout, because I've always felt like if Zerg gets the Lurker Hydra on this side of the map, it kind of seems unplayable for Protoss, so... But he wanted to play it both times, which is kind of surprising to me. Maybe he likes the, like, high ground defensive position here for this third, which I can't understand that if that's the case. But it's just being contained under two bases here is brutal. And we're probably just going to see that from Sziky from pretty much the rest of the game. Adding in a bunch more drones. I mean, his drone count looking very, very healthy now. Yeah, we're super saturated now. We're doing great eco-wise for Sziky. And you see in the supply, he's up 50 supply. And when Zerg's even or ahead in supply, it's usually a bad sign for Protoss. Much less 50% higher. But I think we're just going to continue to see rallied Hydras and Lurkers across the map. And just try to starve Nomad out here on 2 base. Here we go. We got a bunch of goons out now, collecting some Storm energy. We only got 4 High Templars for Storm here, which, I mean, wouldn't be terrible under normal circumstances. Sziky kind of sharking around looking for that Observer. But man, I mean, getting through, like, look at this. This is just such a nightmare, right? For Protoss to try and break through. Rebuilding our Spire, Sziky. As Sziky, which, kind of curious. Maybe for just Scourge, possibly, to try and pick off the Observers or things like that. Here we go. Nomad is going to try to value his way out of this choke. Might even be waiting for the Forge to finish. Okay, no, we're not going to, but it's tough. We'll see. A couple decent storms to start us off, but one Templar goes down right away. The second Templar does at least stay alive. We only had 1 Observer, which is... Okay, there we go. The second Observer is coming out at least. But he's going to pretty much need to pump Observers non-stop, but... I don't know. This just looks so hopeless to me. At least gets this little... This kind of little space here, but we have another high ground to go through. And here we go. It's going to try and push out Lurkers, raining down fire. It's a great Lurker spray. There's basically nowhere other than maybe here to get more than 1 Lurker per shot. Zealots coming after the goons are kind of bled off, and... out of storms as well. Sziky up, doubling the supply at this point of Nomad. And we just see that, I mean, look at the minimap, right? Just look at Zyky's vision. Okay, Nomad, he's just kind of stuck in this little corner here, but look at Sziky. He sees everything. And Nomad just about starved out. He's down to his last little bit of mining here between these two bases. Gonna go for our last little hoorah push here. But even if he somehow, like, say that everything here just blew up for free, it's still not playable for Nomad. That's just the sad state of the game that we are in right now. He is on 2-2 upgrades, which is nice. Sziky got that +2 on Hydra, need the +1 on Lings now. Here comes the big Ling flood. GG gonna be called, and Sziky successfully defends his throne against Nomad 2 times in a row.